collateralizing with individual houses versus other businesses versus, bringing in multiple partners and more people who are in there, and reaching higher ratios with their private bank than we've ever seen in terms of the requirements of having things done in advance. But they can be done. New partnerships and collaborations can mitigate cash flow issues and control operational costs. We'll talk a little bit more about this one as we go on. Some of them, we've had examples of businesses even here in this room who've done things in terms of joint advertising, sharing, identifying areas where they can share costs with one another, and things that probably would not have happened if the economy was cruising along like it had in the past. But now, in terms of limited resources, there are additional opportunities in terms of doing market analysis or paying for advertising, or trying to identify how do you cross-collaborate and get individuals, customers who are already coming in downtown to stop in each other's store. The retail trade area is increasing dramatically. The upside of all the new retail coming in now is that we're drawing people to Sun Prairie from an enormously large area. All the way up from, we've heard in terms of, from Costco themselves, they're actually planning on drawing from Wisconsin Dells all the way down to Janesville and all the way up to Beaver Dam and maybe even past, in terms of drawing people up those major transportation corridors to come to Sun Prairie. The trick, of course, is now that we've got them here, how do we get them to come downtown? That's going to take some very targeted efforts and some things to get that to happen. But they're here in town. How do we get the next step to get them to come one more stop and come downtown? The internet, the upside of the internet is it provides a potential stabilizing sales outlet. A number of businesses, I think, have learned that, you can't count on maybe your storefront for all of your revenue. What are some things to, some expand on your internet sales? You can still have your storefront, you can still have your presence for people to come in, but we're hearing more and more of our smaller businesses, really up and down all of Main Street, are turning to the internet for an additional sales outlet. We think that's probably a good thing in the long run if it provides an additional stabilizing factor for them. And the last one is, in terms of the opposite, I guess, of the chaos that really is at the federal and state level, has been a large stability here in terms of local development regulations. Often we've been very fortunate in terms of our planning staff, and our process is very standard that we can come in and say, they bring in a full development application on this date, 7 weeks later, you're up for city council for approval. Here's the hoops that you go through. And almost, I would say 98% of the time, we can keep them to that schedule. And if we don't stay to that schedule, it's not because of city reviews, it's because they haven't provided information to be able to do the review in the first place. That's what we talk about in generating a business environment where people can make business decisions and have some predictability. Notice it doesn't say easy. We're not saying to lower and erase all the standards for all the development every year, downtown or otherwise. We're not saying that. What we're saying is it's got to be predictable. They got to know what the rules are, and they got to know when, in terms of time frame, they're going to get their answer. Some guiding principles. Difference between being eligible versus being competitive. This is one we've been kind of harping on for actually not just for downtown, really in terms of all of our economic development efforts. There's a lot of things in Sun Prairie that are perfectly satisfactory and anybody could come to town and take advantage of. Very easy. We talk about having good transportation. We usually have a slide that says good transportation, good schools, good infrastructure, affordable utilities, affordable prices of land, affordable buildings, great people, good work ethic. Name that community, guys. Every other community in Dane County and all throughout Wisconsin, anybody who's doing any marketing at all is using that exact same list. So how do we differentiate ourselves from that? And going from being eligible, yeah, they meet the minimum requirements, to, wow, look at those guys. They're actually moved to the top of the list on some of this stuff. How do we start? And part of it is just being specific. Taking care of our own by protecting the investments that have already been made. This is kind of not a new concept by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it is one we do need to take more seriously, certainly in these economic times. Anybody followed the Mayor Soglin in Madison and his frustration with the fact that Rayovac was moving to Middleton? He says, well, nobody ever told us about it. They didn't even give us a chance. Well, the fact that he said that statement in that manner, that's the problem. The fact is, they should have been in there visiting with Rayovac, asking them how they were doing a couple times a year, and they probably would have found out, said, well, you know what, actually, we're not real happy with our location. We were thinking about moving. But complaining about it after they've already gone, they've missed the idea of how to do that. So it's getting out there and getting in front of some of these things. Importance of business-led initiatives, especially from those of us here in the government, remembering that business is a private sector enterprise. And most of the time, they have a pretty good idea on what's going to make their business successful. How do we support and follow and encourage those initiatives? The bid does not have to lead every single initiative. Certainly the city does not. How do we support ideas that you guys have as business owners that you think would make better progress and more customers and make your business better? How can we help you with those things? That's not a bad way to be thinking. Certainly we're going to do things and try to identify things that we can help on our own and show some initiative. That's not saying that part of it. But I say is we need to be open to individuals, businesses, and their initiatives on what they might want to do. Last thing is a big one, and everything we do, and Tim reminded me, or don't do, reflects on us as a community and our community brand and what people think of us. Everything we do. The fact that we have this many businesses and people in here tonight to hear about this thing, that's a positive reflection on our downtown and how we do business. You know, things that we're, and it's how do we go on there, everything we do. There's the 4 things we kind of have listed there is message. What do we want to sell ourselves at in terms of downtown? What is the message we want to tell people? What's our audience? Who are we going to tell it to? Business owners? Condo owners? Who are we talking to and what is the message we're going to send to those folks? Media, how are we delivering that message? And the last one, how do we know it was delivered successfully and we got the result that we wanted when we delivered that message? Those are kind of 4 cornerstones of really any marketing effort. We kind of get back, we kind of get ahead of ourselves sometime in terms of doing things, and I know we at the city always have to kind of go back to these 4 things and say, okay, wait. Who are we really trying to reach here? What are we really trying to accomplish? And is it working? Those are 4 good key things we need to kind of go back on. So, last one, call to action. I think these are my ideas. These are not anything from the board has discussed or anything yet. These are solely from me that I throw out for consideration to the board and to everyone here tonight. Encouraging more joint promotion and advertising.